What happens when you don't feel like making love? My husband and I schedule our romantic encounters to ensure they happen. This doesn't replace impromptu lovemaking when passion and emotion are riding high, but it's a placeholder so that life doesn't prevent us from honoring our priorities for what matters most. But what happens when the time for scheduled sex arrives and you don't feel like it? Last week, I experienced such a day. Not only did I not feel like it, I was frustrated with my husband and frankly thought he'd been acting like a jerk. I decided to implement a technique I've used in other circumstances to get myself to act differently than how I feel because I mentally know the benefits of lovemaking and how dramatically it affects how we feel about each other. That is, I asked myself to call in the feelings of how I would feel if I were feeling amorous, if my husband had been loving, tender, thoughtful, and engaging during the day. How would I feel towards him? I had to simmer in the space for a bit to transform my state of mind. But voila, it worked. My body responded to my thoughts. The following day, I reflected on our incredible intimate encounter and I thought, wow, this flipped a course of an afternoon and evening, and the effects ruminated into the following day. But what happened in reflection was even more striking to me. I began to question whether this technique lacked integrity. After all, when you think one thing and do something different, aren't you being fake or are you calling on a higher and better version of yourself? The times when you do what's right because it's right and you not allow your feelings to dictate behavior that doesn't serve you. Yesterday, I was listening to Vin Gang, a communication expert. He was explaining that your voice is a musical instrument and you select the note that represents how you normally talk. Think about it this way. The very sound of your voice is a note on a keyboard, and most people, most of the time, talk using one arbitrary note. What was more fascinating to me was this default note was unconsciously chosen from the influence by those around you, from life experiences from a very young age. Just think, there are 88 notes on a keyboard, and you can choose any one of them, but you default to the one that was unintentionally created when you were a kid. So if I can choose a key, a cadence, a tone, an intensity that most suits the way I want to be intentionally, does only one key represent the authentic me? Or are all 88 keys a representation of what I could be, by design, by choice? All the notes represent possibility. What about attitude? Is it a choice? What about personality? What about choosing to think differently? Thus the idea. If you could choose 88 different ways of being, like choosing which key to strike on a keyboard, you can choose to respond with a higher and better version of yourself in any circumstance. In actuality, I wasn't being fake at all. I was allowing the space for a higher and better version of myself to show up and participate in great lovemaking. This intentional decision completely changed not only the trajectory of a day, but my marriage, and ultimately my entire life. This is what I love about profound knowledge. Once consistently implemented, your life will never be the same.